Hello and welcome to our viewers on ASI News Broadcast, bringing you the latest top news for today. Snowden bears another U.S. spy program. A program used by U.S. and British spies to record computer keystrokes was part of sophisticated hacking operations in more than a dozen countries, security experts said on Tuesday, after former NSA contractor Edward Snowden reportedly leaked the source code for the program. On Tuesday, researchers at security software firm Kaspersky said that much of that code, published this month by German magazine Spiegel, matched what they had previously found in machines infected by Regine, a major suite of spying tools exposed in November. Lead Kaspersky researcher Carsten Rau said that the keylogging program called QWERTY would work only with Regine, and that it appeared several Western countries' spies had been using Regine over the course of a decade. Multiple attacker groups are using the Regine platform, which is a new conclusion for us, Rau said. Spiegel and other publications reported earlier that Regine had been used in the hacking of Belgian telecommunication provider Belgacom, which slides provided by Snowden said was targeted to enable spying on mobile phones in Europe. Overall, the malicious software has been discovered at more than 24 sites in 14 countries, including Russia, India, Germany, and Brazil. Targets included government agencies, financial institutions, and multilateral bodies. The NSA did not respond to a request for comment. After past Snowden disclosures, it has avoided discussing specific operations, but said it complies with U.S. law, which allows broad surveillance overseas. The new findings suggest that Regine was a platform for spying operations that was shared among the so-called Five Eyes, the U.S., Britain, Canada, Australia, and New Zealand. In its own November report on Regine, top U.S. antivirus company said it was extraordinarily well disguised and that even when traces were found, it was difficult to know the purpose. Like some other top-tier spying programs, Regine has different modules that can be installed to achieve different ends. Fed governor calls for new tools to regulate shadow banking. Financial regulators need to come up with new tools to regulate shadow banking system in order to guard against system-wide crisis, a top Federal Reserve official said Friday. Daniel Tarullo, a Federal Reserve governor and the de facto point man for the central bank on regulation, singled out the asset management industry in particular for regulation in his remarks at a meeting of federal regulatory agencies in Arlington, Virginia. In the wake of the 2008 financial crisis, the Fed, Treasury, and other agencies have addressed risk on Wall Street by raising capital ratios, running stress tests to ensure banks' safety, and instituting other new rules. But by tightening regulation on big banks, Tarullo warned the government may be increasing incentives for more lending to migrate outside the regulatory perimeter to so-called shadow banks. Shadow banking refers broadly to any financial activity taking place outside of the banks regulated by the Fed and other agencies, including thorough mutual funds, hedge funds, government-sponsored enterprise, and other firms. The shadow banking system is roughly the same size of the traditional banking sector in the U.S. and growing, according to the International Monetary Fund. Tarullo said Friday that asset managers, firms such as Fidelity or BlackRock, could pose a risk to the financial system if they were forced to sell off assets quickly. Such a fire sale could drive down asset prices and cause problems at other companies, including banks. Increased regulation of asset management firms has been a topic of interest at the Financial Stability Oversight Council, a supergroup of regulators tasked with identifying overall threats to the financial system. The Fed is represented at the council by Chairwoman Janet Yellen. Critics have said that asset managers pose no systemic threat, given that they can simply return money to investors in the case of a panic. Tarullo's comments indicated that he thought asset management was nevertheless a candidate for new oversight and regulations. Tarullo also stressed the need for margin requirements for short-term borrowing by firms that rely heavily on such transactions for funding. He said that the Fed would soon propose a rule to implement an internationally brokered framework for such margins and that it would look for additional ways to oversee shadow banking. Those were the latest news brought to you from the American Studies Institute from Tehran. You can also check our website at www.asipress.us. Thanks for watching.